Thank you. I'd like to call the Legislation Committee hearing to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Boyd. Alderman Rhodey.
Present.
I'm sorry. Alderman Vaccaro.
Present.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Narayan.
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Here.
Chairwoman and
Present.
by present, you have quorum.
Thank you. I'm going to move excused aldermen to the end to see if we get anybody else joining us. If you've had an opportunity to take a look at the minutes from November 9th, I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second. I'll second it.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Rhodey.
Aye.
Alderman Boyd. Alderman Vaccaro.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hubbard.
Aye.
Chairwoman Negracia.
Aye.
5 aye votes.
Thank you. Before we have Alderwoman Hubbard present her board bill, just wanted to take a moment to go over the rules. According to Rule 27 for public hearing procedures, proponents and opponents of the bill shall be heard alternately. Today, I think we only have proponents of the bill. All persons who wish to testify at a public hearing have signed a list and has been made available to the committee via our Google Drive. The initial presentation of any witness shall be no longer than 5 minutes, except with the exception or the permission of the committee chair. But any witness may respond to questions by members of the committee for an additional period of time to be determined by the chair. And any witness may submit written testimony to the committee at any time prior to the conclusion of the hearing on the bill. And with that, Alderwoman Hubbard, I will let you discuss Board Bill 222.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. What am I thinking? Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and members of the committee. I'm getting a lot of text because some of the people that wanted to speak they can't find the link. So I sent an email to Mr. Clerk to see if we can get that rectified. But so Board Bill 222, better known as the Crown Act. It will prohibit discrimination in employment and housing decisions, including without limitation, hiring, advancement, and compensation, and discrimination in housing practices based upon an individual's hairstyle, protective hair, or natural hair, or cultural hair or style. I am nervous, I'm going to admit, because I'm so passionate about this work. If you all know me, I've been a licensed cosmetologist in the state of Missouri for 26 plus years. I love what I do, but I also see the good, the bad, and the ugly in what I do. The Dove Crown Act initiative stated and showed through their research that Black women are 50% more likely to be sent home from the workplace because of their hair. And 80% of Black women feel the need to change their hair from its natural state to fit in at the office. But let me just bring that on home. I remember having clients that I would have to do their hair sometimes multiple times in 1 week because of meetings that they would have. And they felt like they needed to present themselves a certain kind of way for these meetings. Discrimination is real. We all know it. And we know that it's bigger than just our city, bigger than our state. The Crown Act is a national movement. And I'm excited that St. Louis has the opportunity to get on and work in concert, not just with Councilwoman Parks, out of Kansas City, Missouri, that has already passed this legislation last year, and with our representative, Keisha Bosley, and Representative Manlove on the state level, they're doing it to make sure Missouri is next on that map. You all know how much I love maps. If you go to the Crown Act, they literally have a map that you can see when your state is popping up in the work you're doing. I'm excited about this legislation, and I'm here for any questions, but I also brought some amazing people with me to speak on behalf of it as well. So I will yield to our clerk, Madam Clerk, to see who is on and who will be ready to speak on behalf of this, on behalf of Board Bill 222. I'm hoping the councilwoman from Kansas City was in a prior meeting, but she was going to try to step out and give her testimony. So I'm hoping she was able to come on. I don't know if she's on yet.
Yes, I'm on.
Oh, great. For the record, you have to state your name and state your position.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. I am Raina Park Shaw, Councilwoman for Kansas City's 5th District. And thank you, Madam Chairwoman and members of the Legislation Committee. In September, I co-sponsored the Crown Act with my council colleague, Melissa Robinson, in October of 2020 in Kansas City. In doing so, Kansas City became the second municipality in the nation to adopt legislation that protects against hair discrimination. And I commend Alderwoman Clark Hubbard for leading this legislation in Kansas City. In St. Louis, excuse me. I strongly urge the St. Louis City Board of Aldermen to pass Board Bill 222 and join Kansas City on the list. There are people who may think the need for this legislation is duplicative and do not see the need for it, but the Crown Act is a necessary step in ensuring equity and addressing the silent but very real barrier of implicit bias. In 2019, Dove Crown study displayed that 80% of women admitted to changing their hair from its natural state to fit in at work. And Black employees are 1.5 times more likely to be sent home from work because of their hair. Because of institutional racism, natural hair and protective hairstyles are frequently identified as unprofessional and not suitable for the workplace. Far too often, Black and brown people are denied employment opportunities, housing, and even education because of how our hair naturally grows out of our head. In 2014, the United States military relaxed its restrictive and racist hair regulations to include natural hairstyles. If our military can lead the way on inclusive policies like prohibition of hair discrimination, we as local legislators can do the same. The future is bright for creating a respectful and open world for natural hair so that each person can wear their crown with pride without fear of consequence. Please vote in support of Board Bill 222. Again, I'm Councilwoman Raina Park Shaw, Councilwoman for Kansas City's 5th District. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Shaw.
I'm sorry, Lakeisha Frazier Bosley, is she on?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, ma'am, you can go ahead, state your name and your position for the record. Thank you.
Thank you. I am State Representative Lakeisha Bosley of the 79th District here in St. Louis City. As you see me now, I am as I am. A way that I woke up this morning, God created me just the way that I am. And I don't think that it is a shame that we have to have legislation like this put forth for us to ban discrimination against people for just being. As Councilwoman Councilwoman Parks just came out and said in 2019, Dove did a story, however, a study. However, Black women and women of color have been feeling this for their entire life in America. And that has been a problem. We have always been told that we're not good enough, that we need to conform. And conforming to the woes and to what society says is beautiful and society says it's acceptable is not a piece of a history that we like to acknowledge. And I commend Alderwoman Shameem Clark Hubbard for bringing forth this legislation, Board Bill 222. I am in strong support of it. I have filed similar legislation on the state level, specifically dealing with education because that's what the state controls. But it is great to be able to have this conversation fully in reference to the fact that people are discriminated against for just being, and we should not discriminate against people for just being who they are. We fight for people's rights all the time, and we need to fight for the right for people and women and men to be able to grow their hair and style their hair in the way that they want to. Thank you.
Mr. Charles Bryson.
Good afternoon to Chairwoman Ingracia and members of the Legislation Committee. I today come, and I thank you for the opportunity, and I come in support of Board Bill 222. Many cities across the country have passed laws that prohibit discrimination based on hairstyle, including locks, dreads, twists, bantu knots, and other styles. Many of these laws had to be implemented because hair was being used as a tactic to racially discriminate against Black girls and boys, women and men, in employment, housing, and education. This board bill will do both: mandate that people are not victims of discrimination on the basis of their hairstyles, but also allow for process to which people who think they believe they've been discriminated against to seek some sort of opportunity for retribution. For clarity. CREA is grateful that the board bill, in keeping with City Ordinance 67119, includes a wide variety of entities such as employers, temporary employment agencies, and labor unions. CREA stands ready to take claims of discrimination based on Board Bill 222, but more importantly, or as importantly, CREA stands ready to conduct a vigorous education and outreach campaign to make sure the aforementioned entities are provided information, as well as hair salons, independent hairdressers, so that they can make their customers well-versed in the ordinance. And that's an important part of what we need to do. The bill is another arrow in the quiver of the City of St. Louis Civil Rights Enforcement Agency and the city itself. We're grateful to Alderwoman Shameem Clark Hubbard for bringing this to the fore, and we appreciate and look forward to anything that we can do to not only help with its passage, but the education, outreach, and ultimately enforcement. Thank you.
Ms. Alicia Hernandez.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful, thank you. Yes, honorable committee members, thank you for allowing me to submit testimony today. And thank you to Alderwoman Shameem Clark Hubbard for presenting this legislation. I'm here on behalf of the American Civil Liberties Union of Missouri and the organization's 1,279 volunteers just in the St. Louis city. And we strongly support Board Bill 222. There has been a long history of racial discrimination in this country and in our state. And if passed, the Crown Act makes it clear that discrimination based on natural or protective hairstyles associated with people of African descent is a prohibited form of racial discrimination in housing and employment opportunities. Discrimination based on hair is widespread and harmful, as we've already heard today. We have supported the Crown Act legislation at the state level and municipal levels, because we've heard from others just in this call in support of this bill that no one should be discriminated against for being their natural self. We've already heard that the recent Dove study found that Black women are 1.5 times more likely to be sent home from work because of their hair than their colleagues. That same study found that 80% of Black women admitted they feel social pressure to change their hair from its natural state to fit the office. Legislation like Board Bill 222 looks to ensure that no one has to endure this type of humiliation and shame for expressing themselves through their natural hair and texture. The ACLU of Missouri supports and stands in solidarity with those impacted by this type of discrimination. It was also mentioned that there have been recent changes in our military. The Secretary of Defense ordered a review of these regulations in 2014 due to overwhelming complaints that their hair regulations unfairly targeted Black women. Staying in compliance meant having to struggle with changing their hair's length or texture with costly and potentially damaging chemical treatments. These new regulations allow Black women to proudly wear dreadlocks and cornrows while serving in uniform. To prevent these stories and stories that we've heard on this call, it is necessary to prohibit this type of racially biased discrimination and provide legal protections for those impacted. ACLU of Missouri strongly urges you to support Board Bill 222. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all the speakers. I'm going to open this up for questioning by members of the committee. Alderman Rohde, do you have any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Alderman Vaccaro?
No, I don't have any questions. I support it. They're picking on me about my hair right now. I can't get to the barber. I tried to get Shameem to cut my hair, but she said no. So I was pretty sad all night, but no, I support this. I have no problem.
I think a bit of a good-natured dinging you on your hair is definitely in order.
Oh, I know. It's out of control, but that COVID stuff, I just don't really go anywhere or do anything. I'll get it cut sometime.
I'm glad you're safe. Alderman Ryan?
Thank you, Chairwoman Ingracia, and thank you, Alderwoman from the 26th for bringing this. When I first read the ordinance, I was surprised that there wasn't a similar ordinance already in effect, to be honest. I think it's way past time. I want to thank you for talking to me about it and educating me on some of the issues surrounding it. As I told you on the phone yesterday, I was ignorant on some of the points on it, just because it's not my hair texture. So I talked to you about it just to gain a better understanding of the actual wording of it and how it was going to translate into actually helping people out. So thank you for that. And my only issue with this bill at this point is that my name isn't on it. So I would like to add my name as a co-sponsor at this time with the Alderwoman from the 26th permission.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alderman Ryan.
And I have nothing further. Thank you.
Alderman Gunther, I see you're on the line. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just wanted to also thank the Alderwoman from the 26th for bringing this up, and as well as the Alderman from the 24th, being a person that often gets criticized for my hair. I was going to see if it would be okay if I could add my name as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Rice, do you have any questions?
No, I'm sorry. I don't have any questions. I was just happy to listen in and supportive of Representative Bosley's bill as well as this bill here at the board. Thank you, Alderwoman from the 26th, for bringing it. And if you're amenable, I would love to add my name as a co-sponsor as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So I think we covered all of the aldermen who were on the call. Again, Alderwoman Hubbard, thanks for bringing this in front of us today. To Representative Bosley's point, it's really sad and disappointing that we have to regulate this, but it obviously is necessary. Just wanted to say thank you again for all of the speakers that you had come take time out of their schedules today to testify. It's always helpful for us to have feedback from the community. And with that, you're recognized to close.
Thank you. I would like to thank the speakers as well. I do have to give credit where credit is due. Representative Bosley, when she pre-filed the bill, she reached out to me and I immediately said, absolutely, I want to get on board with this at the city level, especially standing in solidarity with Kansas City, the other urban city link here in the state of Missouri. So I'm excited to have all you all support. I'm excited that the speakers came on and were able to speak to it. I want to read a quote since we just celebrated Martin Luther King Jr. and his mission and his life's work. Discrimination is a hellbound that gnaws at Negroes in every waking moment of their lives to remind them that the lie of their inferiority is accepted as truth in the society dominating them. Let's make it make sense. For me, I have two daughters. That I fight every day to make sure that they feel good about themselves when they going out and don't have to fight any other discriminations that I might have fighted, being bussed out. I went through the DSEG program and I just was exposed to a lot of different things and a lot of different psyches that way, all the way up to my parents and my grandparents, the discriminations that they had to face. Like you said, Chairwoman Ingracia, that we still have to do this in 2021. It's sad, but it's real. And I thank you because you were the first to ask to be a co-sponsor on this legislation. So thank you for being allies. I thank you all for being allies. And I thank you all for standing and showing this message, sending this message loud and clear to little girls like mine, little girls everywhere, that we accept you. You are enough. You are beautiful. Your hair is beautiful. And moving forward, give them so that they go out into the world and be the leaders and the representation that they want to be and feel good about it. Remember, I said, I did it for 26 years. I know how it feels to turn that woman around in that chair and how she feels when she looks at herself and feels beautiful. And I literally have had to change hairstyles because a woman loved the hairstyle, but didn't think she could get away with it at work, for lack of a better way to put it. So this right here is sending a message that in St. Louis City, we accept you, we stand with you, and we love you, and we want you to feel a part and feel recognized and feel like, this is your city and we stand with you. So with that, I do ask for favorable consideration and do pass recommendation on Board Bill 222.
I would like to make a motion that we pass it out of committee and bank.
Second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Rhodey,
Aye.
Alderman Boyd, Alderman Vaquero,
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad, Alderman Narayan,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Chairwoman Ingracia.
Aye.
5 aye votes.
The last thing I want to say is a special thank you to Charles Bryson with CREA. We continue to give the Civil Rights Enforcement Agency a lot to carry with very limited resources, and the fact that you continue to embrace the work, even though I know you are overworked, is really inspiring. But just on the record, we need to fund the Civil Rights Enforcement Agency at a level that allows you to do your work much more easily. And with that, I will entertain a motion to pass Board Bill 222 out of committee. Pass recommendation.
I think we did that though, wasn't it? When we did it in bank, wasn't that also the same motion? If not, I'll make a motion that we pass it out. Okay, I thought it was the same when it said we pass it out in bank.
Separate motion to pass it.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion, we pass it out.
Second.
Previous roll.
Hearing no objection to previous roll, Board Bill 222 comes out of committee with a due pass recommendation. Thank you, Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. This is really important. And if no one else has anything to add, we can adjourn.
I would like to ditto on record everything you said about our CREA director, Charles Bryson, and thank you, and give another personal thank you for him always answering my late night phone calls and texts about this legislation and about his passion with me about education behind this piece that we're going to work on too. So ditto. Bryson needs more money. CREA needs more money, not Bryson. CREA needs more money.
CREA needs their own attorney, which I tried to fight for, which Charles Bryson apparently fought against. In order for CREA to do its job properly, they need their own attorney so they can actually get things done. Using the city attorney is not the proper way for CREA.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that feedback, Alderman. I appreciate it. And I think we all agree that we need to work together to figure out how best to support CREA and Mr. Bryson's efforts. And with that, adjourn. Everyone have a good afternoon.